The past few months have seen a great deal of discussion about the Green New Deal, and it is my hope that it's going to be a big part of this Democratic primary. Joining us now to break down how the Green New Deal goes forward and what effect it might have on choosing our next president, activist and organizer around the Green New Deal, former Bernie Sanders campaign staffer, Juliana DeLauro-Velez. Welcome to the show.
Hi, John. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. We're very glad to talk to you, especially about this topic. And so you've been an organizer around this issue. We've had a few months now where it has been a big part of the national conversation in terms of the total amount of policy that's been talked about. What do you think about the path going forward in communicating about the Green New Deal and how that has been done so far? I mean, we had that Senate vote, obviously, an attempt to derail it by Senate Republicans. What do you think so far about the conversation?
Yeah, so I think it's been really telling that every single one of the U.S. presidential candidates for 2020 on the Democratic side voted present for that vote. I think that shows you that they understand how important this issue is and that is actually the path forward. Unfortunately, as we all know, Democrats haven't really been proposing a lot of large-scale solutions to the problems that we're facing today. And the Green New Deal is that moonshot. It is that one thing that we have to do. And it's been, I think it's very telling that all of them have been supporting it, even though they're not 100% sure what it entails. They know that it aspires to actually accomplish the goals that the scientific community is telling us that we have to accomplish in order to avoid this climate catastrophe. And I think that is actually going to be, the focus of the 2020 Democratic primaries.
I certainly hope that that's the case. So let's talk about some of those Democratic primary contenders, because many, but not all, have actually sponsored the Green New Deal, those who are in elected office right now. And as you said, they basically everyone voted present that was present to vote on that. But in hearing them talk about the Green New Deal, it's not yet a guarantee from my point of view that they all mean the same thing when they're talking about it. And so up until very recently, you were working with New Consensus, which was drafting the Green New Deal. From your point of view, what do they need to mean? What needs to be included for it to actually be the Green New Deal and not just them supporting something kind of environmentally progressive, but not the Green New Deal?
Yeah, so I think that there are two main pieces to the Green New Deal that we need to be supporting. One of them is policy that's crafted to actually solve the problem. And I know that seems like very common sense that we should be writing policy that actually solves the problem. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case in the past. We've seen that, a lot of our politicians love to talk about political viability, and they draft policy in terms of that. And let's be honest, we know that that means that's a euphemism for can it get support from Republicans? And that's a strategy that's never worked in the past. So one, it needs to actually get us to not have the planet warm past 1.5 degrees Celsius, and it needs to get us to net zero carbon emissions. And two, it needs to have the equity portion of this. It's so disheartening to hear a lot of leaders say that we shouldn't muddy up the planet in something so important like climate change with equity, when that is, one of the biggest crises of our time too. We actually have two existential threats, and one of them is income and wealth inequality. So that's something that also needs to be included. We need protection for workers that are going to lose their jobs once this new green economy is created. We need the creation of millions of good paying union jobs. All of those things have to be a part of a Green New Deal in order for it to be the Green New Deal that we want to support.
And so far, of those who are involved in this Democratic primary, or those who are likely to be involved in this Democratic primary, from what you've seen when they've been talking about the Green New Deal, those who might have been involved in the discussions either in Congress or in the Senate, who stands out to you as most, I guess, exemplifying AOC's vision for how the Green New Deal needs to be constituted and how it needs to be passed?
That's a really good question. I'm honestly not sure. I think Senator Sanders has it in him to support a Green New Deal that has all of the equity portions intact. I would hope that Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren and others also follow suit. But to be honest, I'm not sure. As of now, I see that Senator Sanders is the one that can actually support that type of Green New Deal.
Okay. And so we've been talking mainly about the politicians. In terms of public support for the Green New Deal, obviously many people are still learning about it, but we know that at least in early polling, it's quite popular. You've been talking repeatedly about the equity aspect, and pundits, especially in the right wing, often talk about this as what's ridiculous that includes all of these different things. You've laid out sort of pragmatically and philosophically why it needs to include those things. Do you think that that's also important in terms of selling it to the American people, incorporating things like wealth and income inequality, jobs, and all of that?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. You know, something that a lot of people, I think, our leaders and currently the people who have power in this country and in this world don't understand is that when you're a working class person, you are not really paying attention to the climate. You know, you do, but you're mainly focused on how are you going to pay your bills? Are you going to get laid off? Are you going to be able to support your family? These are the immediate concerns of the American people, and I think people all over the world. So when you craft legislation of this scope and this magnitude, it includes provisions to support working class people and to incentivize the economy and to create millions of good paying jobs, right? And this is the stuff that Trump would talk a lot about, like America needs to keep their labor here, and we need more jobs, and we need to make things, and we need to incentivize industry. That's exactly what the Green New Deal is hoping to do, and that's what the equity part is hoping to do, to really protect workers and to not only alleviate poverty but spread wealth and create wealth. We live in a democracy, right? It's a broken democracy, but it's a democracy nonetheless, and people are going to vote for their immediate interests.
I certainly think so. And for that reason, I do hope that it is a big part of this primary discussion going forward. I hope that there are multiple questions during the debates about it. And we want to thank you for joining us, Juliana, both for joining us, but also, Godspeed on organizing around the Green New Deal and making sure that it stays a big part of the public consciousness.
Thank you, John. I hope so too.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.